Let me just see. Most people here I know. I just want to check if you could just put in the chat, do you have any NLP, that's neuro linguistic program experience or not? If you don't, it doesn't matter. This is all about the NLP Edge. It's about helping people learn about using NLP skills in business and for coaching. Okay, so let's just start. Today, what we're working on is, or what I'm going over, is building rapport for effective business relationships. Without rapport, we cannot connect with people. There's lots of people out there that are absolutely fabulous at building rapport, but they're doing it unconsciously. They don't know how they're doing it. When we're working with neuro-linguistic programming, we become very aware of what we're doing, because neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, is the methodology of how we create behavior. It's also the study of excellence. Now, one of the things that we taught, oh, that's it, Nadine, you've just finished your NLP training, which is fabulous. One of the things that we've really worked with when we're working with NLP is the whole concept of our map of the world. The map is not the territory. And what we mean by that is, as a human being, you are creating your own version of reality, your own edited version of reality. Now, I've been working with NLP for over 30 years, nearly 35 years. When I started, this was theoretical. It is no longer theoretical. It's absolutely been proven by neuroscience. We are filtering and sorting information in such a way that no two people have the same experience of anything. And once we know this, and this is one of our fundamentals in NLP, and when we know this, we understand that people have got different views, people have got different perceptions, people have got different values, different understandings. But that's okay, because no one will ever have the same perspective of yourself. But when you're building rapport with someone, you are creating a similarity between your reality of the world and their reality of the world. So when you're looking for similarities, because people like people that are like them. We talk nowadays about having your tribe. Who's your tribe? Who's the people with your same interests? Who are the people that believe what you believe? Who are the people that really you connect with and you can spend time with? We also talk about our friends and families. What brings you together? I want you to think about the people you spend most time with, the people that you really get on with. Because sometimes families, we don't necessarily have to go on with family members, and we don't have to get on with people in work. We have to try and get on with people at work. But I'm talking about the people you really enjoy spending time with. What is it about these people that connects that similarity to yourself? Because we build rapport really easily with the people we like. But building rapport with people you maybe have different viewpoints on is a completely different thing to do. So it's not about you mimicking that person or you having to be untrue to yourself. It's just looking to see where you can get the similarities. What we do here, this is a very quick session, 45 minutes. I'll take you through some slides. Then we'll go into breakout rooms for about 7 minutes, get a little bit of feedback, and then I'll let you know about the different offers that I've got. Okay, so let's just share the slides just now. So we've got the 4 elements of rapport. The first element, now we don't have handouts here, so if you want to take photographs at any point of the slides, please do. There's 4 elements of rapport. There's similarity. This can be culture, age, gender, parent, career. I lived for many years out in the Middle East, and the similarity in the Middle East is the majority of people are expats. So you were able to say, what brought you here? Because most people, when I first went out to live in Abu Dhabi in 1983, we hadn't got to second and third generation of people like we have now in Dubai. So the similarity was we had all come from somewhere else to live in that place. And that worked beautifully. That was a real way of connecting. And then you have authenticity, genuine interest in others, a real compliment, and showing vulnerability. So having this total, we know when someone doesn't really connect with us or someone's pretending to connect with us. But if you show a genuine interest in someone, then that genuine interest, people feel that. They feel it at the unconscious level. And they're much more likely to open up if you're interested in them rather than you paying lip service to being interested. You know how sometimes you get told, you ask people about them and someone says, what do you do? And they're not the least bit interested in the answer. So it's things like voice tone, it's things like eye contact and you can't kid on with this. You have to be genuinely interested if you're serious about building rapport. Shared experiences can support holiday, family, job, project, etc. And let me just go back to the authenticity. The thing about showing vulnerability. We know for a leader, because I work a lot in companies for leadership development training, and I do a lot of leadership development coaching. We know that the moment a leader or a coach shows vulnerability, hi Priya, nice to see you, shows vulnerability, that connects whoever's working with them on a human level. Now, I'm not talking about showing incompetence. I'm talking about being able to say, we've got a problem here, guys. I don't know how we're going to sort it. I know we'll pull together and I know we'll find a way to do that. For a leader to be able to say that, that takes a lot of courage because lots of people in leadership pretend they know everything. And we know that's not true. No leader knows everything. So the minute you show that human side to yourself, but also with a state of positivity and a state of let's see how we can do it, but I'm not sure how we're going to do it. I know we will do it. People will connect, and there's something called neuro coupling. And I want you to take a wee note of that. It's called neuro coupling. Go and do some research on neuro coupling. When you have rapport with someone, your brain is lighting up in the same person as that brain's lighting up. Our brains are synchronizing. And when we have a leader or coach who is in that state of rapport, when you've got neural coupling with your team members or with your clients you're working with, they will do anything for you. That creates an incredible bond of loyalty. So it's not just that this isn't just lip service we're paying this. We know there's big physiological things happening. And this is why this whole area of neuro-linguistic programming is so exciting. Because for me, it's advanced communication skills. It's ways that you can really connect with people. And we learn a whole load of tools. NLP for me is not a thing. It's a set of skills. We learn a whole load of tools that really helps us connect and identify with people. And then you've got empathy, taking the time to understand the world of others. I remember we lived in India for a couple of years. My husband was working, one of the projects he was on was in Mumbai airport. And he had a driver. He was a general manager of the company and he wasn't allowed to drive. It's as simple as that. If you're in management in India as an expat, they don't allow you to drive because the driving has got its own wonderful way of happening. It's what I call the most beautiful organised chaos I've ever seen. It all works beautifully, but don't try and go in it if you don't know the patterns that are all happening. But he noticed his driver was getting a bit tired. His driver used to pick him up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, in Mumbai, the traffic jam, the morning rush for traffic starts about 9:30 till about 11 or 12 o'clock. Then it doesn't really stop, but it goes on till 9, 10 o'clock at night. So he had his driver, and then I think they had about another 10 drivers for the company. They were all leased from this company. But he noticed his driver was really tired, and he started to ask his driver about his family life and where did he live. And it turned out he lived 2 hours outside of Mumbai. And Duncan said to him, are you able to take the car home? He went, no. I have to take the car back to the depot and then I take a train. And then Duncan said, so what time do you call me? He said, normally, sir, about 1 o'clock in the morning. And Duncan went, but hang on a minute. You picked me up at 7 o'clock in the morning and we're finished it because Duncan used to work 7 till 3 or 4 at the latest. so that he was able to move outside the traffic jam time. He said, "You're finished at 4 o'clock." He went, "But when I go back, they don't allow me to go home." So by just getting the story of what was happening with this guy's life, Duncan immediately went on to the company and said, "All the drivers that we have on lease, they finish on the hours we finish them. You give them no more work to do. They're leased to us and they're leased long-term to us. This is a service, but these drivers go home when we're finished." And then what he did with because there was a few of them married, but there was quite a few of them single and were studying. So he offered overtime to all the guys who wanted to do extra. If they wanted to work with the managers in the evening, he offered them overtime. And he paid for meals. He paid for them to have plenty to drink, coffees and teas and juice and things. And he gave them extra study time. And these guys were studying away in their cars, delighted because they were on this and he gave them big overtime bonuses. And that all came from just having the empathy to understand, hang on, this guy's actually doing 5 hours traveling before he even starts his job. And that guy, Arif, it was actually Arif he was called as well. He became so loyal to Duncan, it was unbelievable. But the thing is, very often you find people are not interested in what's going on in someone else's life. And they might be assuming all sorts of things that will not be true or are true. So it's the empathy part of rapport building is just taking the time to understand the world of others. Now, the purpose of rapport is to establish a feeling of commonality between people. That's what it's about. For example, using nonverbal communication, body language and voice tone to get an individual feeling more relaxed in conversations or meetings essentially is an unconscious communication. Things like a smile, just smiling. Or if someone comes into the room, just smiling, sit down, offering them a cup of tea, offering them a glass of water or whatever, except if it's Ramadan. That's another form of rapport building, because if it's Ramadan, you're offering people something to drink. You're breaking a cultural rule. So again, it's being aware of culture helps build rapport. Rapport is the ability to relate to others in ways that creates a climate of trust and understanding. When you have rapport, people trust you. You know you have rapport. Now, this is the key. Write this down. If nothing else, I want you to write this down. You know you have rapport when someone volunteers additional information about themselves or a situation you have not asked for. That is the golden nugget of rapport. I was in sales for 25 years, and I always built rapport with my clients, because the minute you've got a good friend, a client is a pal, they're telling you stuff that they wouldn't be telling you normally. And that happens. Look at when a leader is working with their team. If you're working as a coach, your client really opening up to you. So it's really, but people will tell you stuff without being prompted because they feel very open and they feel that they trust you. We build rapport by physically mirroring matching body movements and voice tone. Rapport helps relationships. It's the ability to enter into someone else's world to make them feel that you understand them and have a strong common bond without them actually, without consciously talking about it. That's the important thing. You're not consciously doing this. It's the ability to go fully from your map of the world into their map of the world. And what I mean for that, for anyone who's not NLP trained, it means you're able to see the world from their perspective, even if it's not your perspective. And this is something we've always got to be aware of, is our perspective can seem really strong. In fact, I haven't done this for a while. I want you to point to yourself and say, I'm the center of my world. I want to see everyone doing that. I'm the center of my world. I'm the center of my world. Okay? No, you're not. I'm the center of my world. Someone come back at me and tell me I'm the center of my world. We're all the center of our own worlds. Okay? And it's when you understand that, it means no one's opinion is wrong. It's just different from yours. But just because you believe in something, or you have an opinion of something, or that you think something should go a certain way, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has to have the same thing. And that is once you understand, and that's, as I said, that's one of the real foundations of when we work with NLP. So what you're doing is you're trying to understand what's happening in someone else's world for them to have the values and the beliefs that they have. It's this essence of successful communication. This is from Tony Robbins. When someone feels that you understand them, this is the foundation for building a relationship. The reason that rapport building is so effective is that the unconscious will notice what is different and likes what is similar. So let me just demonstrate that. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 3. 3 + 3 is 6. 4 + 4 is 8. 5 + 5 is 9. 6 + 6 is 12. Now, that was really interesting. I saw eyes do that. I saw twitches happening. And so what was causing the twitches there? It was the ones that were wrong. We are hardwired. And again, you can write this down. We are hardwired to notice when something's different. When something's the same, we don't bother about it. It's just normal and natural. So if you're being really different with someone, they're going to go, whoa, hang on a minute, their alert's been up. So this is where this is a survival instinct. We have to know when something's not right. We have to get an alert. And we've all got these alerts that go on when, hang on, this is not what I know, this is not what I'm used to, this is not what I believe, or this is not what I think. So the more you can minimize that, the more you're likely to build rapport. By removing the differences between the individual and the speaker, by matching and mirroring movements, you will build more similarities, which creates an environment of likeness. We naturally feel a kinship with people who have a similar background to us, and that is why in life in general, people will find individuals with the same cultural backgrounds form a community. It's also the capability to see each other's point of view and be in the same wavelength and to appreciate each other's feelings. And then there's a non-verbal communication to establish emphasis on the spoken word and to maintain interpersonal relationships. This is done with facial expressions, touch, gestures, body language, and voice tone. Now, non-verbal communication has been reported to account for between 70 to 80% of our communication. Many people hear about the Merhabian model. Merhabian has been quoted as stating that the spoken word is 7%, voice tone is 38%, body language is 55%, meaning the non-verbal part of our communication is 93%. Neuroscience has said we cannot split voice tone and body posture in that way. So what's now accepted for neuroscience, 20 to 30% of what we say is in the words, but 70 to 80% is how we say it. Now think about it. And this is something that can happen, especially in a gallery online. In a gallery online, someone's saying something you don't agree with, and then someone starts doing that. The eyes roll and, the nodding of the head and all sorts of things happening. Right away, you're disconnecting. If you've got lots of people doing that, you're disconnecting from the group. Just by your non-verbals that you're probably not even consciously aware of a lot of the time. So again, from NLP training, we help teach you to be in control of the different gestures and voice tone that you're doing. The quickest way to build rapport is to watch a person's body language, elegantly match or mirror, then lead. Matching and mirroring is replicating or reflecting aspects of the individual's behavior back to them. So we're talking about posture, the gestures, facial expressions, breathing. It's incredibly powerful to match someone's breathing. And then you've got tonality, voice tone, tempo, the volume, and then the words, matching visual, auditory, and we call it feeling or kinesthetic words, repeating keywords, and common experience and association, and repeating the last part of the sentence. However, it is not mimicking. Fred, can I use you as a volunteer? Because we've not met before. Okay, if you just want to, let me just put you on spotlight for a couple of moments.
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Thank you very much. And I'll just put myself on spotlight. I would like you to tell me a little bit about what's your reason you're here tonight?
To learn more about communication and sales.
Yeah.
I feel like any helpful tips, I read a lot of books, is helpful. And I believe sales is really about communicating. It's not about trying to sell something per se.
How does it feel as if I can't see hand gestures here. All I'm seeing here is your head doing that. How was it feeling when I was doing that? It's starting to, you were a little bit hesitant, got uncomfortable.
I didn't even notice it really.
Okay.
But now that I see it,
Yeah,
that's a little
I was
overboard.
doing, so we're
Yeah,
not
well,
talking about that. So let me just tell me a wee bit more and let me see if we get your hand involved in that. Where are you
okay, I
from,
see what you're
first of
saying.
all? Whereabouts are you from?
So I've been in sales for all my life,
Yeah.
and I read a lot about sales, and I teach other salespeople as well. And part of what I teach is
Okay.
along.
If you could bring your hands up so we can just follow your hands a wee bit.
Okay,
That's it.
here, how about
You can exaggerate it, but you can have it up here. It's perfect. Thank you for doing
that?
this. This is great. There we go.
So,
Okay.
like I said, I'm in sales. I teach sales, and part of what I teach is communication. Big thing that we talk about here is empathy. A lot of times, sharing first will get the person to open up and share with them. And that's really what communication is about. And just like you said, NLP is about understanding that person's
Okay.
perspective
I'm
and
going to stop
experiences.
there. Okay. So everyone else could see what I was doing there. I was absolutely matching everything we were doing. And those of you who were watching, I don't know if you were aware of this, Fred, when you look back at the recording, you'll see it. What starts to happen is it becomes almost automatic that as you were doing that, I'm doing it at the same time. Okay.
Uh-huh.
But that will drive someone nuts. Okay. So tell me a wee bit more about it. I worked with Xerox. I was the first employee for Xerox out in the Middle East. I had a 25-year sales experience. So I understand about your sales. So tell me more about sales.
Sales, we teach here. It's all about questions, listening skills, and a big fallacy I don't like to hear about is typical salespeople or trainers will say sales is all about listening. And I 100% disagree with that. I think it's 50-50. I think it's if 50% is listening, 50% is talking. Because a lot of times, some of the things you want to accentuate is you may have to tell a little story. People get involved listening.
Just so where's here? You said that what we do here. Where's here?
Oh, we are a background screening company, and we provide background checks for companies. That's our service.
Thank you. That's all. That's all we need to do there. So can you see when I went? I was watching. So when Fred said here and his hand went, it was actually your right hand that went. It was. I don't know if you're seeing me. What images? It's your right hand that went this side. The minute I said, where's here? Your hand went back out to the same place again. Okay. So that's a way that you can connect with people by very subtly matching and mirroring what they're doing. Thank you very much for that. So what would if you are just if you're imitating someone, it's horrible. If you're mimicking them, it's horrible. But if you take something and so someone can talk about, it was fantastic in that place we went to, and they're talking way into it. So how fantastic was it? And can you see I'm matching where they've pointed their hands to, but also voice tone and face gestures. We are all doing this automatically. NLP skills teach you to become conscious about everything you're doing automatically. We're not, in a lot of cases, teaching anything new. We're teaching you what we call conscious, unconscious competence, being conscious about what you're doing automatically so that you can be really aware of the things that you do well and you're able to respond to that. Some of you may have heard of Maya Angelou, and she's got this absolutely fabulous quote. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. How do you make the people you coach, lead, and feel? That's a question I want you to ask yourself. So we're going to put you into the breakout rooms. I'll just put you into breakout rooms. Let me just get the breakout rooms set up. Any questions before we go into the breakout rooms, first of all? Does anyone get any questions about that? As I said, this is only a very quick snapshot. We've got those of you who are NLP trained, we have got the NLP Business Circle Club. And the Business Circle Club, we meet on the second Tuesday at 12 till 2 UK time, and the fourth Thursday from 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock UK time. And our members have access to all our live masterclass recordings from 2021. And we take subjects like this, but we go into them in very great detail. And we have normally about 40 minutes to an hour to actually practice that. But at the moment, what I want you to do, just go into breakout rooms, and I want you just to share. Let me see, I'm just going to change the breakout rooms. There are too many there. I just want you to share a little bit of what you're getting here, and also maybe how you use Rapport or how you've learned to mirror and match other people. Now, I'll open all the rooms and we'll bring you out in 7 minutes. You get 7 minutes speed connecting with each other. Okay? See you in a moment. So let's just get a little bit of feedback from each room there. So who wants to go first? Just 1 minute feedback from each room. Paul, do you want to go from your room first of all?
Yeah, sure. I was decent conversation with Isra, who is starting on her NLP journey out in South Africa, and we had others as well who dialed in. But the bulk of the conversation was with Isra. And I was emphasizing the absolute need for all of us to understand this issue of rapport. And I just feel I will always have an experiment. And I played an experiment out this morning, which incidentally is all about rapport. And I've known a colleague for years, and we would have a coffee, and we would grab a coffee for an hour, and we'd chat and disappear.
Mm-hmm.
So I played the rapport cards this morning in a fairly significant way.
Mm-hmm.
And that conversation ran for 3 hours.
Yeah.
So 8:30 to 11:30, solidly. And I actually broke rapport at one stage by standing up and changing the chairs.
Yeah.
Because I had to get out of the sun for starters. But one was I wanted to break the rapport consciously. And I sat on his side of the table.
Yeah.
And I felt him engaging me in rapport then.
Yeah.
So the rapport channels were effectively still open. Even though I'd broken it,
Yeah.
they were still open.
Mm-hmm.
And we just re-engaged and continued the conversation like nothing.
And that's what tends to happen when you have managed to build really good rapport with someone. And think about it. Think about good friends you don't see for years. Then you meet again as if you've never been away from each other.
Yep.
Because you've got that connection. And if we look at neural coupling, the brain's actually lighting up in the same place. People get delighted to see you. Fabulous. Okay. Anne, your room. What was happening in your room?
And we were talking around the subjects of NLP in general, as well as rapport. And we were talking about how NLP is really useful in sales, because Samantha is working with Fred in the sales. So we were just discussing things like, I was mentioning about the marketing copy as well as a completely different angle that we covered in the business circle yesterday, saying these are the kind of things that we do that are also useful for sale, as well as all the language and the rapport building.
It's all about language and behavior. It's language and behavior and the way that our language affects behavior. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Anne. Fred, what did you get in your room?
We were talking about mainly of sales, and we started talking about how people communicate, how they share, how you open people up. We were talking about asking questions is a big thing, and you have to understand that person's perspective is going to be different from yours based upon their experiences, because the world there's really no reality when you think about it.
Nope.
It's just based upon that person's experiences, and they're going to be quite different from yours. And the more you understand their experiences, you're going to help communicate between the two of you.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. When in the sales environment, because that's the environment I've had the most experience in from the corporate world. When you build a connection with a customer or with a client, and that connection stays, there's so much comes from that. And when I worked in the Middle East, I had clients who were setting up the Higher College of Technology, because I was out in the Middle East in 1983. And it was before there was any colleges. There was only high schools there at that time. And I got to meet some consultants that were setting up the very first college. And for the next 7 years, we'd got everything for them. But not just our own products. We introduced them to other people. And at one point, I actually took the wives of the directors down to the souk to buy beds and bed linen and couches and things, because there was no malls. You had to go to the souk street for beds, the souk street for towels. And I was very comfortable going into the souk and going in. And so we built this rapport to the point. One of my friends, in fact, Naima, who was on our NLP Business Circle Club last night, Naima and I met. She went to work with Higher College of Technology, and she was telling me yesterday, she was talking to one of these guys who said, "How's Fiona?" They were talking from 1983. How's Fiona getting on? So once you get these relationships with people, that sticks. Think about good leaders you've had that you remember everything about them. That all comes from building rapport. Okie dokie. So just to let you know, we run this session every second Wednesday. The next one will be on Wednesday, the 24th. We've also got the NLP for Business and Coaching, the Mastery, NLP Mastery. It's an online training. It's actually the NLP Business Practitioner. So it's the whole of the business practitioner that I have put into an online training. We're going through at the moment CPD. I don't know if those of you outside the UK are aware of the CPD accreditation, but the CPDs are a government accreditation to say that people get so many points as 1 point per hour. We're putting the NLP Mastery through that accreditation process at the moment, as well as an NLP dual certification, business practitioner, business master practitioner. So what I've done, I've put the link for that. If anyone has got an NLP training, I know most of you here you're already in the Business Circle Club, and Samantha and Fred, you're not NLP trained, but we have the club that we meet for people who have done some NLP training. And if you decide to do the mastery, that you can then join our club as well to really get practicing using NLP skills. I've been working with NLP for about over 30 years. And I pride myself on being able to teach NLP, how to apply NLP skills very easily so you can get results. And I've got plenty of people that can back me up on that. I'm seeing a few nodding heads here as well. Okay, so thank you very much. I'll put the recording off. I'm here if anyone wants to ask me any questions. I love that everyone comes along. And as I said, this is about opening up. We're getting to a stage now. NLP was really created, it was just a name that was brought out by Dr. Richard Bandler, and it was created by Bandler and Grinder in the 1970s. I believe we're only coming into our own now. It's been around for a long time, but we're starting to see these now that neuroscience is proving how the brain works, we're actually seeing that a lot of our theoretical techniques are going, hang on a minute, language does affect the way we see the world. It does affect behavior. It does affect motivation. And it affects just the way you do things. And when you can learn to use these skills elegantly, because that's the important thing, is to use them elegantly to help people be the best they can be. Okay, but give yourself a big round of applause. Thank you very much. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. And those of you in the Business Circle Club, the recordings will be up after this. They're ready to go. I'll just get them posted after this. Okay, I'll put the recording off, but I'm here for a while if anyone wants to have a chat. Take care and